All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for the Dan Bongino Show.
Folks, how many times do I have to say on this show? I'm really just trying to help, not foe, but friend up on Capitol Hill. Don't ever ask a gotcha question that you don't know the answer to. I'm not saying don't ever ask a question you don't know the answer to, or else it wouldn't be a question. Sometimes you ask someone up on Capitol Hill, hey, if we were to allocate this $50 million towards specific program X, what specific results do you see from X? Fine, fair enough. But don't be an imbecile. Just don't be stupid. It's pretty much a golden rule like don't get dead. Just don't be freaking stupid. Don't ask a gotcha question you don't know the answer to. Even worse, don't ask a gotcha question about someone, say you're alleging who has like a drug problem or alcohol problem or something else, when you're the one with the problem. Is this hard? Is this hard? President Trump is in China today, changing the world. He's there with Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, and a bunch of other, Tim Cook and other CEOs. Listen, we got to do business with China. We also have to keep China in check. It's a balance. We can't just wall them off, no pun intended. So we'll be following that, of course, as that happens. A ton of big news. I'll get to what I'm talking about with the gotcha questions in a second, in case you missed. Fireworks yesterday on Capitol Hill. And I listen, obviously it's hard for me to be completely objective about Director Kash Patel at the FBI, but I'm going to try. But yesterday was objectively an amazing appearance where he got to lay out the results of your new Donald Trump FBI, and they were amazing. And what did the morons up there do? Throw out a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, side bourbon bottle or something, whatever. Also, you want to talk about more political backfires? The Pratt campaign, again, Spencer Pratt in L.A., for this. Even the team was laughing during the pre-show rundown. Also, I got Sean Ferris coming up later, one of your favorite guests. He's fantastic. Hey, a better way to get all your prescription medications. You know what it is? All Family Pharmacy. I use them because I like to be prepared in the event of an emergency. You should too. Simple, safe, and secure. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino. Don't be caught without emergency medications. Use code Bongino10 for 10% off today. Prescription provided if appropriate. Today's show also brought to you by another preparedness favorite of mine. They've been with me for a long time. My Patriot Supply. Folks, the world is full of threats. I saw a lot of them over the past year. They are real. They are very real. Do not be caught in an emergency without emergency supplies, period. No one's going to help you. No one's coming to save you. It's just you. You don't want your kids looking at you. Hey, Dad, you got any food left? Nah, man, we're going to starve. That's not the right answer. So I want to tell you about My Patriot Supply. I'm a customer of theirs forever. They're America's original Patriot preparedness company. They've helped over 3 million American families get prepared since 2008 with more than 90,000 five-star reviews. Patriot Supply, you want to put out my purchase history? Just leave my credit card number over it. I give you permission to do it. I'm a customer too. Right now, they got a special offer you really need to check out. When you get their flagship solar backup generator, the ultra-powerful Grid Doctor 3300, they'll also give you over $1,000 worth of survival essentials absolutely free. You're not going to beat a preparedness deal like that. 4 weeks of emergency food, water filtration, and much more, so you are ready. It's in stock and ready to ship right now, but with everything going on right now, there's no telling how long it'll be available, so act now. Go to preparewithdan.com right now to see if everything you can get for free. Preparewithdan.com, preparewithdan.com. Do not wait until the emergency happens. That's too late. Get your complete preparedness set up today at preparewithdan.com. Go today. That's preparewithdan.com. All right, fellas, let's go. Here we go. I will just reiterate again for the leftists who are a little slow to this stuff. Do not ask a gotcha question you don't know the answer to. I get it. I worked for him. He's a friend. I'm doing my best to be objective, but watch Director Patel, of course, director of the FBI. There are some liberals watching who may not know that. This is why he's public enemy number one right now. He has a portfolio of amazing results like nothing we've seen in the law enforcement space in a long time. That's just a fact. And they've got to take this guy down. Watch Senator Chris Van Hollen, this knucklehead from Maryland, just get destroyed up on Capitol Hill. And Patel brought the receipts to back it up. Check this out.
Occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you. So the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Mr. Chairman,
I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations and fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here, Director
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with.
I'm not. Don't stop. Don't laugh. This is serious. By the way, thank you, producer Justin, for bringing just instant receipts. I didn't even see that coming. Justin actually has the photo evidence right there. By the way, Director Patel posted the receipts from Christopher Van Hollen's bar bill, B-A-R, not barbell, bar bill, for apparently what appeared to be alcohol. And look at that. Chris Van Hollen, by the way, thank you. There he is, Christopher Van Hollen. With a really, really bad dude. They got some glasses in front of him there. What are they doing down there? What are they doing down there? What? Oh, the Maryland father. Yes, Kilmar or Brago. Hey, the Maryland father. That's right. Yeah. Of course, the media. You can always rely on them to tell you the truth. Justin, did you see that one part when Kash just drops the hammer on him? Did you see how red Van Hollen's face gets? Guys, ladies, do not ask a gotcha question you don't know the answer to. He got absolutely smoked on this. However, on a very serious note, I wanted to open up the show to give you just Muttley's everywhere in the chat. Tear it up. Muttley's in the chat. I have actually dispensed of the 5 Muttley ceiling rule because you guys in the chat run the show. It's your show. And sometimes you decide to put 10 Mutleys. We can't actually do 10 audio Mutleys. Here we go. Show the chat. If you're missing out on a live show, this is the best part. This is where the whole Bongino Army family just joins in. Muttley time, Karate Man time, Laser Eyes Dan time. We got all our special emojis. The don't get dead emoji. I didn't even know there was a don't get dead emoji. This is the best part of a live show that's as unhinged as our show all the time. We love it. Thank you, folks in the chat. Okay, back to serious time. Folks, I've been out for 3 months, okay? So I'm going to just separate myself from it. Not about me. There is a reason FBI Director Patel is public enemy number 1. Here's the reason. He has produced numbers on public safety we were told by leftists who wanted us to defund the police were not possible. Listen to me, follow me, zoom in, laser eyes Dan, okay? We were told by the leftists who wanted to defund the police that crime was a problem because of the system. Remember Raphael Warnock yesterday, Democrat senator from Georgia, telling Pod Save America? It's the system. Systemic discrimination. You know what the real cause of crime is? It's not systemic discrimination. Justin, what is it? It's freaking criminals who do bad shit. That's the cause of crime. This isn't hard. So when you go lock up criminals, they can't do bad shit because they're in jail. That's the thing. It's really hard to do bad shit from jail. It's not hard. Director Patel went in there. We sat down. We said, how do we go find criminals who do bad shit? I got an idea. There are a lot of warrants for criminals who do bad shit. How about we go help the state and locals clear warrants? Well, that's never been done before. Well, we're doing it now. The reason they hate Patel is their whole worldview is being challenged right now. Everything they've told their constituents in high crime, liberal run blue cities that the crime here isn't our fault, Democrats who run it. It's the system. But you are the system. No, it's the other system. What system? You're the freaking system. That whole thing is collapsing. as crime rates are dropping everywhere thanks to Patel's efforts. Put up that little chart he put up yesterday before we get to the next one. Folks, these are just numbers. You can sit there at the left and claw at your freaking faces and shit your diapers all you want. The hard reality is these numbers are just real because we went and locked up bad guys and didn't start talking about bullshit like defund the police and systemic bullshit. We were the system, and the system fixed it. 20% drop in the nationwide murder rate. That's just a fact, man. You're either dead or you're not. That's not open for interpretation. 45,000 violent crime arrests. That's up 184%. 24,000 plus gangs and criminal enterprises disrupted. You can see it right there. 6,940 plus child victims located. Up 144% for all the doomers out there. Oh, what's happening? Oh, shut the fuck. 2,900 child predators and human traffickers arrested. You care about any of that shit? 158% increase in cyber-related indictments. Why now do you see why they want to get rid of this guy? They need this to stop so they can blame systemic discrimination again. Here's that knucklehead senator from Washington, Patty Murray. Here she is again, with just like Van Hollen. Stay on the personal attacks, the fabricated BS. They couldn't find her in a hotel. It was just made up bullshit. No one's been able to go on the record because this didn't happen. I'm telling you. I was his deputy. If we couldn't find them, they would have called me. I never received, listen to me, tape this, record it, digitize it for the future. Under oath, okay? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth? I do. I never received a single phone call in the entire time I was there, being the number 2 in the chain of command, that Kash Patel could not be located by his security detail needed me. Under oath. You got it? You got the photo? There we go, under oath. So you're making it up, media people. Yes, you're making it up because you're trying to get this guy out to get a weak FBI director in there so that you can run on this defund the police systemic discrimination bullshit. Here's Patty Murray. It's a 2-parter. First part here. Again, right back to the personal stuff to distract you from the actual results. Check this out.
In response to all the concerns about your leadership, instead of righting the ship, you've taken to polygraphing your employees to scare them and attempt to rat out leakers. There are reports that you're using FBI resources to investigate journalists for reporting what's going on, and that is absolutely not what this committee intended when we funded the Bureau. So can you commit to this committee today that no agent hours have been pulled from other work like counterterrorism or violent crime investigations to work on matters related to negative press about you or your personal lawsuit?
Senator, I greatly appreciate the question, and I can tell you unequivocally, this FBI is targeting and investigating no journalists. This FBI is targeting no journalists. The Obama and Biden administrations targeted dozens of journalists, sent out 1,200 interviews.
I didn't ask you about the Biden administration. I asked if you can commit to this committee that no agent hours have been pulled from other work.
We have not done so.
He's already given you the answer, and then he contrasts it with your, dementia god, Joe Biden, and what he did, and you don't like the answer. I didn't ask you about no, he already gave you the answer to your question. He just provided a contrast for you. Why is Patty Murray, again, not focused on the results? And why is all of a sudden Patty Murray is all about, by the way, it is against FBI policy to unload information that you're not authorized to unload to the media. Apparently Patty Murray's not aware of that. Here's part 2 of this, where Kash just basically unloads the results on her. And notice, your Democrat representatives up on the Hill, senators, congressmen, they don't give a shit about the fact that thousands of people are alive because of our work at the FBI. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is protecting leakers All they care about is defund the police, systemic discrimination, anything to get rid of this guy, Hegseth and others who are extremely effective, anything to get rid of them so that they don't have to deal with the contrast. If there are no results and you get a weak FBI director and a weak Secretary of War, there's not going to be a contrast. Biden sucked, these guys would suck. That's what they want. They want persistent low-level sucking all the time. That way there's no excellence to have to compare themselves to. Here's part 2 of this, Kash firing back with, hey, you guys even remotely interested in what the taxpayer money's paying for at the FBI? You know, like going to get like criminals through investigations. I mean, here, I brought one of my coins. This is for a gift for someone later. I don't have a lot of these left. This was my coin at the FBI. So there on the back, it says, the Federal Bureau of, let me look. Oh, investigation. Are you even concerned about investigations? You even remotely concerned about that stuff? Here's part 2 to that exchange. Check this out.
This is what real leadership looks like at the FBI. Every one of you was given it. This is what's happened under my tenure at the FBI and the Trump administration. 20-point drop in the homicide rate, 45,000 violent offenders arrested last year, twice as many as 2024, 2,450 criminal gangs disrupted. That's a 322% increase from 2024. 6,900 child victims have been located since I've been in the seat. That's a 144% increase. 2,900 child predators and human traffickers arrested. That's a 70% increase. And we've arrested 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world in 14 months. That's twice as many in the 4 years combined. That is what the men and women of the FBI are doing, well-resourced. Everyone should take a look at this. If people want to continue the baseless, fraudulent, false personal attacks at me, that's great. Keep the target on me, as I've always said, but the mission has never been better.
Hat tip Ellen Louise 1776 in the chat. All caps, she posts receipts. That's what you're paying for, correct? Investigations that go and lead through prosecutions later on that pull people, bad guys, off the street. I mean, is this hard? Guys, I'm not sure. What else do you think your taxpayer dollars are paying for? They don't want to hear it. Someone else was joking in the chat too. Who said, I love Kash Patel? Who did that? Kicking Bass 02, love that. They want low-level sucking all the time. Because low-level government sucking creates a victim class that always feels like they're being abused by the system. The thing is, the Democrats are the system, but the Democrats are very good in using the media to blame the opaque system rather than the transparent people in charge. It's Scotch tape. You can see right through it. Kick Labasso, too. Good call. I love him, too. The results are freaking outstanding. You have a bunch of doomers out there. I'm convinced many of them, by the way, are taking money from outlets that want you just disgruntled all the time to destroy the MAGA movement from the inside, that want you to believe none of this stuff is happening. I'll talk to Sean Ferris about that later, too. Folks, you want to talk about political backfires. It wasn't just up on Capitol Hill yesterday. I keep bringing this up because, you know, I love cable news. I'm a contributor at Fox. They've been great to me for, 12 years or so. Been doing hits there, maybe more. I had my show there for a while. I love being there. But one of the things in the podcast space is it's not as structured. And because of that, we can kind of focus on long-term things too. And one of the long-term things I care about so much is imparting upon you. And listen, let me just be fair and open up front. I run for office. I put my name on the ballot. You know, I did it. I did not win. That's fairly obvious. Came close, but there's no close. You either win or you don't. There's no whatever. Close doesn't mean shit. I'm proud of that. I stood up and did it. I learned a ton. I wrote a whole book about how falling short, the book's called The Gift of Failure. If any of you are interested, I'm not, shilling a book to you, whatever. Borrow it from a friend in the library. I don't really care. But I wrote a whole book about how sometimes you learn more from defeats and coming up short than you do from victories. Not sometimes. Most of the lessons in my life I've learned that have made me money, led to financial success, have been through coming up short on things where I got up, dusted off, and figured things out. The Spencer Pratt campaign in LA and this ad campaign, I'm going to tell you something, win or lose, there are people out there, if you're an activist, a candidate, or you just care about moving the Republican Party forward, you should be taking notes on this. There is so much this guy's campaign, his social media campaign, has excelled in. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to get to it in a second. painting contrast. This is what they're doing versus what I'm going to do. You'd be stunned how many candidates don't do that. They just don't do it. They say what they're going to do, but they never show you the downside of what your opponent's going to do. Or they show you the downside of what the opponent's going to do, and they never say what they're going to do. Snapshots and sound bites. Make it quick and memorable. Turn your opponent's strengths into weaknesses. Mitigate your own weaknesses by focusing on your opponent's weaknesses. This campaign, I'm going to show you some examples of this, is just brilliant. Take notes on this stuff. No matter what happens in that LA mayor's race, this guy's social campaign, he has run one of the best campaigns I've ever seen. All right, quick break here. Hey, spring always flips like a switch for me. It's a great time of the year. I want things lighter, cleaner, and more dialed in. That includes how I sleep. The ultimate life hack is sleep. Take my word for it. Before swapping furniture or tackling a full reset, fixing your mattress is going to change everything for you. It's about time, right? If you're dealing with sore mornings, lower back pain, shoulders hurting you, and nights that never fully settle, Helix, Helix, is a game-changer mattress for you that's been with me forever. Paul and I have the Midnight Lux. We love it. I had one up in D.C., up in the apartment up there, too. I have a hard time sleeping on anything else. The only reason I hate hotel rooms, I'm not on my Midnight Lux Helix mattress. I used to wake up feeling really terrible, especially in my back and shoulders. Midnight Lux was the cure-all for me in that space, the best mattress I've ever had. My sleep tracker, by the way, backs it up. The deep sleep, the REM sleep has been amazing. Fewer wake-ups, too. What makes Helix stand out is that it's built around how you sleep, not someone else. With over 20 mattress models, there's no guessing. You match to the right one, plain and simple, really easy. They make the process super easy with free shipping, a 120-night sleep trial, that's how confident they are in the product, a limited lifetime warranty, and zero pressure. So go today to helixsleep.com/Dan, that's Helix, for 27% off site-wide, exclusive for my listeners. That's helixsleep.com/Dan. Go today for 27% off site-wide. Make sure to enter my show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/Dan. Thank you, Helix. Check them out. Today's show also brought to you by Birch Gold. You know I'm a big fan of gold. Diversify your portfolio with the stability of gold. When there are supply constraints on commodities, prices surge. You saw it with fuel prices, with the straits. And now you know what else is a limited commodity out there? Gold. They mine it out of the ground. When it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more gold. It doesn't work that way. That's why everyone from central banks to savvy savers are diversified with gold. If you've been thinking about it for years, now's the time to move. Move some of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold Group is who I trust to help you. They've helped me. Now through May 29th, BIRCH, Birch Gold is giving first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. Big savings. For details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, text Dan to the number 989898. Do it today. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Text Dan to the number 989898 to see if you qualify for a first-time gold buyer rebate of up to $10,000. Again, text Dan to 9898 today. Don't wait. Thank you, Birch Gold. Message and data rates apply. Okay. This may be the biggest backfire I've seen in politics, up there like you saw on the Hill yesterday with Kash Patel, in a long time. You probably saw this. This is an attack ad run against, it's very short, against Spencer Pratt running for mayor of LA. Now, when you listen, this is not a joke. This is an actual attack ad by some special interest groups who are terrified that this guy may win and advance some Republican principles in the Democrat stronghold of LA. I want you to listen to this ad. And remember, this is supposed to be an attack ad, but when you're hearing it and you're a sane person, like a non-liberal, you're like, this sounds like a Spencer Pratt ad for Spencer Pratt. Check this out.
Republican Spencer Pratt is the last thing Los Angeles needs for mayor. Pratt opposes using taxpayer money to build brand new houses for our unhoused neighbors, saying it's time for the homeless to get help or get out. Pratt thinks LA needs thousands more police officers rather than more social workers, and Republican Spencer Pratt thinks public employee unions should have less power, not more. LA is on the right track and needs to stay the course. Vote no on Republican Spencer Pratt.
Amazingly, that is an actual attack ad. You're probably listening and laughing like, that sounds like Spencer Pratt could have paid for the damn ad himself. Now, this is the perfect lesson right here for Political Tactics 707. This is like a PhD course. Here, you take an ad like that, which is supposed to highlight your opponent's weaknesses. In other words, it's supposed to paint Spencer Pratt as weak. What it actually does to pissed off LA voters is it highlights his strengths and does the opposite. It's like reverse SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats in the matrix. It actually highlights his strengths because LA voters are pissed off about homeless people everywhere, taxpayer dollars being endlessly spent to a homeless problem that never fixes itself. So what does Spencer Pratt do? He takes this ad, this attack ad, and turns it into a Spencer Pratt ad in the guise of another attack ad, which is like political tactics 1042. This is like an amazing lesson in how to stick it to the man and message a political campaign using social media, which is earned. Check this out.
What does dangerous Spencer Pratt have in mind for Los Angeles?
I make a living giving drug needles to unhoused individuals, and Spencer wants to put me out of the job.
Spencer wants to force me to get treatment and turn my life around instead of dying on the streets. What kind of bully forces people to do things?
As a busy mom, running away from the crazy drug addicts in our park is the only exercise I get. Spencer wants to get rid of them. Does he want me to be fat?
A vote for Spencer is a vote for change. Why would you vote for change when everything is fine? Stay the course with Karen Bass. Smile, damn it!
Don't take the bait. Stay the course with Bass.
Folks, this is just unbelievably brilliant political Aikido. Take your opponent's energy and force directed at you and just turn it back on them. You ever take Aikido? I loved Aikido. It could be street effective if you're really good. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy a little bit. However, back to the Jiu-Jitsu is kind of the same way. Their social media team, whoever's doing this belongs. I know Muttley's in the chat, like tearing it up again. Whoever's doing it, I think that Charles Curran does stuff too. That guy, I've seen amazing work. You see how the contrast is so beautifully painted, even using attack ads against them that become your attack ads. Here's what I mean too. Don't forget this as an activist. An activist, a candidate, whatever. It doesn't matter. I see this all the time. I'm telling you, having run and come up short, there's no second place. I learned a ton. We probably should have done more of this. Don't only talk about your stuff. You have to talk about what's weak in your opponent's portfolio of ideas that you are going to in turn fix. You have to paint the contrast. This is what I mean. Here's an ad he just films on his cell phone. All he is walking down the street and he's like, hey man, we got some street lights missing over here. But he tells you why and why the current people in charge don't have street lights on a freaking bridge. I guarantee you a bunch of people probably didn't know that, thought they were just broken. This is just genius level stuff. Check this out.
Here at the 6th Street Bridge in downtown Los Angeles. It is beautiful, if only you could see it. But all the lights have been allowed to be stolen from our taxpayer money because Mayor Basura and Nithya Raman and her DSA City Council let criminals run the streets. But don't worry, Mayor Basura is planning to take $200 million of our tax money to get solar power lights. Oh, because the criminals won't steal those. But don't worry, Nithya Raman has suggested putting cages around the lights. That's right, cages. That'll stop them.
Folks, we don't have to live like this. My biggest problem with the whole political ecosystem as I see it now is I say this all the time, like we really don't have to live like this. Living like this with darkened streetlights because people steal them because you don't want to go and arrest people like Director Patel, the FBI, state, local, territorial police officers are doing. This is a choice. This is a choice. We saw it with Rudy Giuliani's in New York. Living in a hellhole, crime-infested, economically poor and ravaged place is a choice. Basic capitalism, basic law enforcement. You don't need a PhD to figure this out. Go arrest bad guys, create a low-tax, light regulatory environment, let businesses flourish. This is not hard. The formula's out there. Living in poverty, living in a crime-infested area is a political choice made for you by people elected into office on a liberal agenda. It's a choice. And if the media would just tell people the truth, I know, you're like, Dan, this just frustrates the shit out of me. If they would just tell people the truth, folks, we would be living in a country with like an $80 trillion annual GDP right now, with crime rates so low, even blue cities, you'd be able to walk your kids to school without stepping on some freaking needle, some guy shitting in the street. I'm serious, man. I blame most of this on the media. How many people during the COVID hysteria thought the stupid surgical mask was going to save them from COVID? It's the single worst prophylactic medical device in human history. Every single person who wore one got COVID. The media told you wear a mask. Why? Because they were lying to you, man. How many people out there in the liberal progressive ecosystem, bunch of Karens out there, a bunch of whiners, bunch of wealthy elites, will tell you police are mowing down 10,000, 20,000 unarmed black men a year. The numbers, the reality of it's closer to 10. They're just making this shit up. If they would just tell you the truth, we wouldn't have to live like this, man. This is a choice. If the media would tell you the truth about things like democratic socialism and Sweden and Norway and Finland, if they would just tell you the truth about what's happening over there, you would start to realize, I inserted that for a reason, I'll get to it in a minute. You would understand that some of these countries, specifically Sweden, are moving away from socialist-type Democrat, socialist governance models. I'm talking about the left-wing media. Right-wing media has been doing this forever. We don't have to live like this. There's a choice. I saw this clip yesterday. It's Dana White. I love Dana White. Runs the UFC. You know Dana White. Dana's asked a question about the media. Now, Dana's talking about mixed martial arts media, how these people who've never run a mixed martial arts business have all these opinions about how to run a mixed martial arts business. Why would you give a shit? Folks, I invest in projects and tech spaces. I get involved in a whole bunch of different capital ventures. When I don't know about a business, I go out and ask people. The worst thing you can do is invest your money in a space you don't understand. Only idiots do that. But the media does it every day. Here's Dana White just dropping a bomb on the head of these just ignoramuses in the media. It's a great clip. It's worth your time. Check this out.
My biggest problem with the media, who the fuck are you and what the fuck have you ever done? Nothing. You're nobody and you've never done anything ever. Nobody's ever depended on you for a paycheck. Who are you to criticize anybody? I was just saying at the press conference in Winnipeg on Saturday, you have all these people on the internet talking about what we should be doing with our business. I said, holy shit, you guys are fucking brilliant. PFL, Bellator, ONE FC, many, many other failing companies. Why don't they just fucking hire you guys? You guys have the answers for everything, right? It's just, I can't even read this shit because it's so dumb. And I realize these guys know nothing about this business, yet these are the people that are covering it. It's fascinating to me that anybody listens to any of these people.
Guys, listen to your buddy Dan. Forget the whole FBI job for a second. I'm just talking about like prior lives, especially when I was in the Secret Service and the early days of the president's detail. They stick the new guys on the press assignment, because it's where you can do the least damage. When you're new to the president's detail, you don't know a damn thing. You've been to training and you've heard about how working in the White House works, but you haven't done it. They don't just stick you around the president day one and be like, hey, you're the body guy. It doesn't work that way. They stick you with the press so you can kind of observe and see how the shift works. You spend a lot of time with the press. Jasmine, you ever heard this story before? Some of the conversations, granted, it was a long time ago. However, from what I've heard from people, it's pretty much still the same. Folks, these people are, not all of them, I don't want to stereotype a whole group of people. Some of them are pretty smart. Most of them are morons. Yet they'll comment on T-bill interest rates and all this other stuff and fiscal policy and national defense postures and decisions and all. And you think like they're read in on like the president's daily brief or something. I want you to say these people could never excel in any other space. So they pick journalism so they could comment on a bunch of spaces they know absolutely nothing about. And then they hide from you basic facts. This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. We don't have to live like this. Thank God for the Spencer Pratt campaign and others out there who are bypassing traditional media and showing you the truth of what a free market versus Democrat socialism or whatever euphemism you want for communism looks like. You got to paint the contrast. I want to show you what I mean, but if they just told you the truth, these arguments would go away. How many times have you heard from your Democrat socialist / communist friends about the wonders of Sweden and democratic socialism? Well, first, I want to play for you Bernie Sanders on Sweden. And then I'm going to show you an article of Swedes on Sweden. Who do you think's opinion, Justin, is more valuable? Swedes on Sweden or Bernie Sanders on Sweden? Hey, he's going to go with Swedes. Key's giving me a thumb. Jasmine, what do you think? Swedes on Sweden? Definitely. Here's Bernie Sanders. The media's not going to tell you. This is, by the way, where AI is going to be the ultimate force multiplier. If artificial intelligence does what it's supposed to do using logic and reason and tells you the truth, the media is going to be done for. They're not going to be able to lie to you about Sweden being their Democrat socialist utopia anymore. Check out Bernie first.
When we talk about democratic socialism, Margaret, I'm talking about Finland, I'm talking about Denmark, I'm talking about Sweden.
I'm sorry, guys. This may be my favorite segment of the show. This is the educational portion of the edutainment portion of the show at the Boogie Down Productions. Some of you know what that means. So that was Bernie on Sweden. Here's an article from the Wall Street Journal yesterday. Here's the Swedes on Sweden. Fascinating headline. The world's most surprising capitalist makeover is underway in Sweden. Sweden? I can't be, guys. I thought this was the socialist paradise. Let me read the headline again. Articles by Tom. You can look this up by yourself. Tom Fairless. The world's most surprising capitalist makeover is underway in Sweden. They note for decades, Sweden was shorthand for a brand of high-tax, high-spend government that managed people's lives from cradle to grave through state-run hospitals, schools, and care homes. Bernie tells us that's amazing. But they note, no longer. With little fanfare, the Nordic country of 11 million has embraced capitalism. What the is going on?
I'm talking about Sweden.
We know, Bernie. Bernie on Sweden. Swedes on Sweden. It gets better. This article's a classic. Maybe you should show this to your college roommate who was like, Swedish. They know today nearly half of primary healthcare clinics in Sweden are privately owned. Many of them are owned by private equity firms. Oh, my private equity, that's horrendous. Vultures. 1 in 3 public high schools is privately run, up from 20% in 2011. School operators are even listed on the stock exchange.
I'm talking about Sweden.
We know, Bernie. We get it. We know exactly what you're talking about. However, I'll take the word of Swedes on Sweden, who figured out that when you create a financial incentive for people to succeed in schools and hospitals, crazy, they actually succeed. Unlike government, whose incentive is just to flush your money down the toilet bowl because there's power in it. If the media would just tell you, I'm serious, man. If the media would just tell you the truth, folks, we don't have to live this way. The answers are not hard. I opened up with Director Patel because I lived through the experience. I'm here to tell you, I'm not even trying to be like self-deprecating. Enforcing the law is dangerous, but it's not hard. I don't mean at the individual officer level. Yeah, it's hard to kick down a door and be staring down the barrel of a gun. I'm not thank you to the heroes out there on Police Week. I love you all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from a strategic management perspective of an economy or public safety. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing done was groundbreaking. Go get the bad guys, the small pool of them doing violent things, and they won't do violent things. The economy's no different. Donald Trump, free up regulations, get rid of a lot of unnecessary government workers that are basically draining the fisc. Let AI and let our business atmosphere just explode and grow without the oppressive Buddha government on their neck, and people get rich. It's not freaking hard. Create an incentive for people to create wealth and value, and they will create wealth and value. I promise you, it's not hard. I'm not sitting here telling you that these were unbelievably genius strategic moves. They were just common sense that were not common in government because there's no incentive for common sense in government. So what do the Democrats do with their media allies to keep you distracted from either Director Patel's results, Spencer Pratt exposing the lights that don't work and the garbage that doesn't get picked up? Ladies and gentlemen, they go to the same thing every time because it's a lightning rod. You're a race every single time. The racist play is so old and tired. I'm just telling you guys on the left, I know you've been indoctrinated and you've tattooed your brains into believing this works. Nobody's buying this bullshit who uses logic and reason anymore. That's how they blind you, the media folks, to the results and to not telling you the truth about even basic things like Sweden. Here's Bakari Sellers on CNN. You may have seen this clip the other day. Just race hustling. Just two-bit bullshit race hustling. This is the dance. This is the act. This is what they put on. It's all bullshit. It's all performance. It's never based in metrics, spreadsheets, reality, results, none of it. It's all blinding bullshit to keep you distracted from blue city, Democrat progressive mayors and county executives and city council members absolutely ruining your life. Check this out.
If somebody fell asleep in 1896 and woke up today in 2026, they would simply say the only difference is now Negroes have a TV show and we wear nice suits. They swapped out Klan hoods for Brooks Brothers suits. And that is the problem. I mean, Plessy v. Ferguson was 7-1, and it gave birth to 50 years of Jim Crow. What we have with this court right now, what we're seeing is watching people who have fought and died and bled so that we would have access to the ballot box, so that we would have access to our voices being heard in Congress, being ripped away. And I think that there is a casual laughter from people we believe to be our friends on the right who are showing us true colors today, because the most sacred, or one of the most sacred acts you have in the United States of America is the ability to cast a ballot and elect someone and send them to Congress, the State House, or a mayoral seat that represents your interest. And now black folks throughout the South are being silenced.
Where is that? Did that say state representative from? Where did it say from? Because here's the thing. To black voters out there, he's trying to distract you again. He's trying to distract you from the bullshit. This every day we're hustling bullshit, race hustling people. The days of this are over. Nobody's buying it. People are calling it out every day. People are laughing at you. People are laughing at you. But they're laughing at you because you're a clown. Oh, former South Carolina state representative. Can you guys pull up who the senators are from South Carolina? You have a photo by any chance? I just want to check that out. Because he's claiming South Carolina state representative. He's claiming South Carolina must be all racist in South Carolina. Those horrible people. This is how they distract you. Someone said in the chat, Dan on fire. Yes, it pisses me off on Fire Day. You're damn right. No way. There's a black guy and he's a Republican. What the what? How is what the who? He's black. Jasmine, he's black. Jasmine's like, I can see that. And he's definitely black. And he's a Republican? What the? So just to be clear, if South Carolina elects a black man, Tim Scott, of course, obviously we're being sarcastic, you know about Tim Scott. If they elect a black man and he's a Republican, none of that matters. There's no representation for people who are black. But if you elect a black man who's a Democrat, or even a white man who's a Democrat with black voters, then we've done our job. Proving to you this is not about race at all. It's about bullshit. It's a distraction. I was today years old when I found out that South Carolina is a black man who's a Republican. I didn't even know that. Tim Scott or something? Never even heard of him. He's like, you remember him? Ran for president? I'm like, nah, I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. Never heard that before. Liberal jerkwads at Media Matters. We're obviously kidding. I know you're too stupid to figure that out. I've met Tim Scott many times. Good man. But he's black, which is like really disturbing to leftists. Of course, Republicans don't give a shit what your skin color. It's just the Democrats. Remember, it's not good enough that you're black. You got to be a black Democrat. That's the only way black people can be adequately represented and distracted in Congress, according to the left-wing media and the Senate. What? There's more? No. What the fuck? There was a black president too? Where have I been? Have I been like in the cryo chamber? What's that movie out now where the guy goes and saves the world with the rock alien guy? I saw it. Whatever, like Harry said, whatever the hell. Project Hail Mary. I saw that movie. It was actually pretty good. There's no woke bullshit in there. I may have been in the cryo chamber. We had a black president twice? That's not possible, guys. Bakari Sellers said we're all wearing Klan hoods. We're all sitting there in Klan hoods. Everybody's got them in the closet here, the backup uniform or something. What the fuck? I'm sorry, man. I'm in a mood today, which is good because we got Sean Ferris coming up. Look at me. My eyes are like, I'm like tearing. You shouldn't be making yourself up. Speaking of, Justin may have done that on purpose because ironically, totally unintended, that was his thing. BSJL in the chat says, Tim Scott is black? Question mark. I couldn't believe it either. BSJL, I had no idea. And like I said, I didn't even realize we had a 2-term black president in America either. I missed that whole thing. Here he is. Justin's like, I think we got a clip of him. You want to talk about being blinded by the BS psyops too all over the place? The Democrats are now telling us, you guys better not consider on the Republican side dropping the filibuster. Don't you dare do that. I mean, we're institutionalists. We believe the Senate filibuster is a protection mechanism against government overreach. These are Democrats saying that now. Really? Hat tip the great Mays Moore. By the way, we have to do like a hat tip pictogram kind of thing. Western Lensman, Mays Moore, Grabian, Over the News. We got to get so people can go and follow. It's all about helping out other creators. Mays Moore is one of my favorites. Here's the great Mays Moore. Pulled this clip of Obama in 2020. I thought the Democrats said dumping the filibuster was a terrible thing because this sounds like a black president I just found out about, Barack Obama. I did not know this. This sounds like him in 2020 suggesting that the filibuster could be racist. And here's what they'll do when they dump the filibuster. This is so weird how this was like 6 years ago. Check this out.
By guaranteeing that every American citizen has equal representation in our government, including the American citizens who live in Washington, D.C. and in Puerto Rico. They're Americans. By ending some of the partisan gerrymandering so that all voters have the power to choose their politicians, not the other way around. And if all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
Did he just say did he just say that? Andy, did I miss it? He just said the filibuster's racist. In that case, because the Republican Party have been generational warriors for full equality, regardless of your skin color, correct? That's our fight, mother. That's our fight.
God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
Thank you. It's like a rallying cry. The mysterious black president I didn't know we had because Bakari Sellers says we're all walking around in Klan hoods. It's unbelievable that this guy got elected twice. It's incredible. And then he said the filibuster's racist. He said it. You just heard it. Filibuster, Jim Crow, segregation. He said it. Republicans, you should be plastering that on campaign ads everywhere. If it's racist, it's our obligation as warriors for equality. That is the Republican Party. Young kids out there, I love having you on the show. Do me a favor. If your professor is telling you, oh, those conservatives, all of that Jim Crow, slavery was all the Republican Party. Really? Do me a favor. Go crack a freaking book, not written by a leftist lunatic, and you're going to realize the harsh reality. Ask your AI. The racist de facto and de jure South through Jim Crow and slavery was a Democrat-run organizational problem in their party that Republicans had to go and clean up. That's just the freaking facts, Jack. Remember RoboCop? I'll buy that for $1. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. We are the warriors for equality, the Republican Party. Fact. And now it's our job to follow the words of Barack Obama, as I just learned today, got elected twice as a black man as president, who said the filibuster's racist. It's now our job again to take up the mantle and scrap it because it's part of the 5-point plan. You don't get rid of the filibuster, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. We're never going to be able to create a contrast between Democrats and Republicans because it's almost impossible to reach that 60-plus threshold with the national map the way it is. So what happens? Stuff gets clogged up in the Senate all the time because a limited number of Democrats, a small pocket of them, can stop any Republican legislation, even when we have the majority. So you never fully get the contrast. It's time. It's not working, what's happening now. It is time to scrap the filibuster because they are going to do it anyway. They're going to try to add D.C. and Puerto Rico as a state. They're going to try to pack the Supreme Court. How many times do you have to hear it from them? This is not, remember SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You have a threat. The Democrats dumping the filibuster, correct? You've been to business school? How do you handle the threat? You elevate a strength and mitigate a weakness. We have a strength right now to elevate. What's the strength we have to mitigate the threat? We have enough members of the Senate to change the rules and dump the filibuster. That's it. How do we mitigate a weakness of them dumping the filibuster later after they, hopefully they don't win the Senate, but if they do, we change it now and do what we have to do now. That's how it works. This is basic business school 101. Folks, the 5-point plan, man, it's everything right now. It's everything. It's the future of the country. Dump the filibuster, pass the Save America Act, census reform, redistricting, border control. We do this, we've set ourselves up for generational success. Short-term, medium-term, long-term. This is really important you listen to this. This next clip is from Lori Reese at the Heritage Foundation. She's talking about, please, tactics-wise, this is super important you hear this part out. It's not a long clip. It's only about a minute. She is talking about the importance of the census. Why is that part of my 5-point plan? Census. We're just counting people in the United States. Yes, that's not the point. The point is the people who are counted, if they are illegals and they are not citizens, and you have 20 million people in the country illegally who are counted in the census, these illegals largely go to blue states who then get extra members of Congress in the House of Representatives. There's about 770,000 people in a congressional district. They've let in about 20 million. You do the math. You know how many congressional seats blue cities have right now that they shouldn't because we're counting illegals? We would never lose control of the House of Representatives again with some basic census reform. This is a great clip by Lori Reese. Please listen to this. Critical. That's why it's part of the 5-point plan. Check this out.
Trump first term, he sought to have the citizenship question re-added to the census. Of course, the left sued. It went up to the Supreme Court, and the court tossed it more on procedural grounds rather than substantive grounds. So we did not have the citizenship question on the census in 2020. And the Census Bureau admitted that they had errors in 2020, and oops, most of them benefited blue states. So President Trump, I think, is trying to push on multiple fronts. He's trying to get citizenship put back into it. There's talk of doing a new census instead of waiting for 2030. There are efforts that states could do in terms of doing their own census to at least give a more accurate picture of head count and breakdown of citizens versus non-citizens and the goodness that comes from that in terms of election integrity. The Save America Act is an important part of it because it's two parts. One is when you register to vote, you have to prove you're a US citizen. And then on top of that, when you go to vote, then you have to show your ID. We need that first part because so many states will issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens and other non-citizens. Forgive me, Laura Reese. Laura, thank you. That is brilliant. Brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Beam in, laser eyes. I'm telling you, the Democrats will never win back the House of Representatives. Wow, they really did beam in. They will never win back the House again, ever. With the implementation of AI telling people the truth, the growth of right-wing media, a good bench, Rubio, Vance, others we've got out there. You got Spencer Pratt and others highlighting contrast. With the media reducing themselves on the national stage to an irrelevancy and the explosive growth of AI and social media and truth tellers and independent journalists, the Nick Shirleys and others, it is going to be impossible. Yeah, man, you got it. It is going to be impossible to hide the truth going forward. I promise you, you implement that 5-point plan, you cut illegals out of the mix, and all of a sudden, with the SAVE Act, with redistricting, you have a plan for generational political dominance. Folks, results, despite the noise, are why, despite the massive amount of noise coming from the media. Iran is lost. Trump sucks. The doomers and the gloomers, nothing is happening. Really, nothing's happening? Borders closed, violent crime rates down, the job numbers were spectacular. Got some hiccups on inflation, but Iran is going extremely well. I don't care what anybody tells you, okay? I don't care what anybody tells you. We were dealing with a generational nuclear threat. Anyone telling you otherwise is full of shit. Been there a couple months. President Trump's already wrapping it up. He's over in China right now, trying to figure out a way to deal with this global adversary in a way no one has in the past. Things are happening, and there are a lot of good things. The results produced by this administration, despite the noise and the constant media ankle-biting bullshit, are the reason you see polls like this. This is CNN. I put the CNN poll up so I can't be accused by media people of left-wing bias or any other bullshit. Here's CNN pollster Harry Enton on the congressional midterm polling. You're probably going to be pretty surprised if you bought into the doomer bullshit about we're getting crushed, we're getting killed. Really? That's not what the numbers say. Check this out.
I think this poll serves as a big-time reality check for Democrats, and that is it ain't over yet, especially with the redistricting when we look ahead to the 2026 race for Congress. You would have thought that the Democrats' lead would expand on the generic congressional ballot. It didn't happen. Look, in March, Democrats were up by 6 points. Look at this now. Democrats are up by 3 points, and I want you to note the yellow lettering. No clear leader. It is within the margin of error. So despite all of the talk about Donald Trump's unpopularity, the fact is Republicans very much remain in the game when it comes to the congressional midterms.
I'm just giving you the numbers, folks. Cutting through the media fog and the noise. I'm just trying to help. I'm serious. I'm just trying to help. And in the spirit of trying to help, you know, I like some lighthearted moments. You know who loves these things? Jasmine. She loves them. She likes when we inject in the show our little Maha moments and our little PSAs, Dan Bongino public service announcements. I'm from New York originally, like Sean Ferris, who's coming up next. We're both from New York. I have lost you guys think in the chat, Gee, can you put the chat up on the screen? Do you guys think I still have a New York accent? Seriously, I'm not messing around. Because I don't hear it anymore. I go back to New York and people tell me I talk funny. So I'm not really sure. I've been out of New York for so long, I think I've lost most of my accent. However, I'm scrolling through yesterday. I'm always looking for public service announcements, way to help. So I saw this contractor, and he's bringing up a really good point. I do a lot of business with contractors, and he's like, hey, man, you better get 50%. No, good. Rarely, thank you. Queens, bro. I am from Queens. No, yes. Yeah, it's pretty down the middle. Bongino could probably tell us where we were at. It's probably like 50-50. This guy definitely has a New York accent. It sounds to me like Long Island or Queens, but I saw this, and it's good advice for you contractors out there doing business right now. Make sure you get some upfront money first, and wait till he explains why. This is pretty good for you. Check this out.
Whenever you do a job, ask for 50% up front, right off the bat. I don't care what the job is, ask for 50%. Look at this. I did this landscaping job for this lady, and she doesn't want to pay me again.
I don't have to pay you. I am your wife.
Ma'am, we did this last year. Cameraman, come over here. We did this last year over here, and
I don't care what you did, and it's a little too gaudy. I told you that last time.
It kind of grew on her a little bit. She hasn't collected for more.
Grow on your wrath.
She wants me to take out the fake flowers, but I really don't suggest that. It looks good. I said, let it stay here for a while.
It's too gaudy. And furthermore, take out some of this stuff. It's too gaudy. And clean the gutters. They're over.
You're only wasting your money if you clean the gutters now.
You're wasting your money.
I work in the area. I do all...
In the area? You're living in the fucking house. What do you mean you work in the area?
I do all the customers all up and down my road. I live in the area. I hate to lose you as a customer.
Oh, come on. Get the hell out of here, Gary. Will you please? This is stupid shit.
What is your problem?
You know, we do our clips of the year every year at the end of the year. Who won the other year? Was it Pierre Polivier with the Apple doing the interview? Dude, mark it. Josh, keep the list. Gary, I don't know you, Gary. It sounds like you're from Queens, maybe Brooklyn, possibly Nassau, Suffolk County. I'm trying to pin it. That is freaking hilarious. And your wife, I don't know if she's part of that. If that was like real or I don't even know. She's like, get the hell out of here, Gary, with that stupid shit. Muttley's going crazy in the chat. That has definitely got to go in our top 10. We do our video of the year at the end of the year around the holidays. Any suggestions you have from prior shows, let us know in the chat. I love it. You guys love that. Get out of here, Gary, with this stupid shit. I don't want to lose you as a customer. You live here. I'm married to you. Awesome. We love you, Gary. I miss New York sometimes. Save New York from Mamdani and the Crazies. All right, quick break. And one of your favorite guests, the inimitable Sean Ferris. You probably know him from his unbelievable Trump impersonations, but this guy knows his stuff. One of the best hosts out there, so we love having him on the show. Stay tuned for that. Quick break here. Hey, I use my car for so much. Getting to work, running errands, and family trips too. When your car goes down, it's not just inconvenient. It lightens up your wallet a lot too. It throws off everything, your schedule. It's a real pain in the butt. I've had that moment where a strange sound turns into a warning light, and then you know what happens there. Suddenly you're bracing for a repair bill you didn't plan for. You got to go get a rental car and all this crap. That's why I'm a fan of Car Shield. Having that extra protection takes a lot of stress out of owning a car. Car Shield offers low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plans, so you're not locked in. They partner with ASE-certified mechanics across the country. They include 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, and rental car options at no additional cost. And the low deductibles really matter when something big goes wrong. Car Shield has over 20 years of experience. It's important. Covers more than 2 million vehicles, holds a 96% customer rating and an A+ rating from the BBB. Drive with zero worries thanks to Car Shield like we do. Right now, Car Shield is offering our listeners 20% off with the code Bongino at carshield.com/Bongino. Don't let an unexpected breakdown ruin your day and lighten up your wallet. Don't let that happen. Get covered with Car Shield and drive with confidence. Go to carshield.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 20% off. We appreciate you supporting our sponsors. And our last sponsor before we get to Sean, Rumble Wallet. Quick question. How much control do you actually have over your money right now? Think about that. Technology is changing everything. Now it's changing how money works. The younger folks are all wired in on this, but crypto started as a niche, but now it's gone mainstream. Faster payments, more control, fewer middlemen. It's not hype. It's just where things are going, where the tech is right now. Getting started today is easier than you think. Rumble Wallet. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stable coins, even own digital gold-backed currency backed by real gold, all in one place. The setup is really easy. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in just minutes like that. It's not about the amount. It's about getting in early and understanding what's coming next. And once you're set up with Rumble Wallet, you can even tip your favorite Rumble creators. You can do it directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. Go to your app store, download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet. Just tap buy and you're in the game. It's that simple. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today. Get started with Rumble Wallet today. Don't wait. Rumble Wallet's a technology provider only and not a custodial service. See terms at wallet.rumble.com. Welcoming back to the show, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, conservative commentator out there, the great Sean Ferris. Sean, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me back. It's always fun to join you on my favorite show, my favorite show in the entire space, and it has been for years. So it's always fun to join you.
You're very generous. So, you and I have known each other for a while. We've been very critical of the old kind of institutional establishment GOP. You know the routine. The Democrats kick them in the nuts with something, Obamacare, higher taxes. They go out, they give a fierce speech on the floor. Someone starts crying. You're like, wow, and nothing ever happens. But listen, tip of the hat, this redistricting fight with these gerrymandered congressional districts, the Democrats started this years ago with Eric Holder and Obama bragging about it. We're going to take back all these districts. Missouri now, Tennessee, where you live, Florida, Virginia backfire. I mean, this is the first time in a long time where the GOP's not only fought back ferociously, but it appears if people turn up and vote that, we could come out the winner in this fight.
But that's the thing that I'm looking most forward to, right? Is that, you see all this nonsense, and it's nonsense on social media. You play the Yuri Bezmenov clip all the time about demoralization. That's what the doomer thing is all about. It is about it's about convincing you, like Jedi mind trick, like you are unhappy with the administration, even though there's so much to be happy about, right? Like there's a lot that we can celebrate. The border being number one, jobs, these jobs reports have been amazing. All right, so you look at the Republican Party, you look at the redistricting fight, you look at the fact that, and again, the data, people can say, oh, polling is terrible. You can't rely on it. Okay, so then show me something different that disproves the polling. If you don't have it, then all you have is an opinion, and that's fine. You can have one of those. I have that too. Everyone has that. But the polling is showing the Democrats with about a 3-point lead in the generic ballot, and that hasn't moved. And so compare that to, let's say, presidential elections when you're looking at the Electoral College, right? Where a presidential candidate can win the Electoral College, but lose the popular vote by as many as 3 points. And you know that this is within striking distance. Then when you look at the fact that the redistricting fight has unfolded the way it has unfolded with states like Tennessee, which I am so happy to live in, what a contrast from New York, with states like Texas, states like Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and other states that are redrawing their maps as they're using the old, Herman Edwards mantra, you play to win the game. Unfortunately, when he was the head coach of my favorite football team, the New York Jets, he didn't really live by that too well. But then again, nobody does when you're the Jets head coach. You usually play to lose. But anyway, the Republican Party is showing you that they're here to fight, that they're trying to win. So it's this simple, right? We did too big to rig in 2024. We have to do that again in 2026. All elections, my opinion, all elections are won on the ground in the trenches. You talk about 10, 10, and 10. We actively practiced that here in Rutherford County just a couple of days ago, and really over the last couple of months with our primaries, with great results for the candidates who we got behind. But think about it. We can win these midterms. We can make history. This would be the first time, I think, that the party in power will have retained, let's say it does happen, retained the House since post 9/11 George W. Bush in his first time. I think that's the last time that it happened, and there was the war on terror, and that galvanized everybody to kind of get behind the President Bush at the time. Here's the thing. If we show up, we can win. If we stay home and we give in to the doomer demoralization campaign online, it might not break out that well. We have a chance to expand our majority in the Senate. Look at the people. The Democrats are running this Al Sayed in Michigan. What is going on? Graham Plattner in Maine.
You got
we can beat these lunatics.
You've got the Nazi tattoo guy, and then I'm campaigning with Hassan Peikel, social murder guy in Michigan. Yeah, you couldn't be more accurate. I mean, this portfolio of candidates on the Senate side is, I'm not kidding, I say this as objectively as possible, one of the worst slates of Democrat candidates I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like they're just defaulting to lunatics. And so you look at the Mamdanis of the world. I believe her name is Wilson out there in, Seattle. She's never had a real job, 43 years old, finally moved out of the basement. Now she's the mayor of one of the country's largest cities. And she's waving goodbye to the businesses like Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks. I don't drink Starbucks. I'm not a Starbucks fan. It is what it is. But they have a coffee called, I think it's Pike Place, right? Is the name of their blend? Because that's where they started, in Seattle. They're no longer a Seattle-based company
anymore. If you go down there and visit on Pikes, I was down there. I was in Seattle about 3 years ago. The fentanyl flop is everywhere. You'll see these guys and women hunched over As you make your way down to the original Starbucks, you'll see them everywhere. I mean, that's really like, there you go. Like you've got to, I'm not a huge fan of the coffee either, to be honest with you, but in business like anything else, I respect business. Guy started a company, great, good for him, created a ton of value, a lot of jobs, fantastic. To see the seat of this, the original location in the heart of like socialist Seattle with the fentanyl floppers everywhere, is just like, that's the state of the modern Democrat Party. But you brought up something else though too. For the doomers out there trying to demoralize us with the, Jedi mind trick. Do not vote in the election. Nothing's happening. Like, this is one of them. I was a hat tip to Guy and Justin. They're big guys, big Star Wars fans. We have an actual folder file for the first time in a long time with this MAGA Republican movement of incredible results. The redistricting fight, like you brought up before, 0 illegal migrants admitted into the country, almost complete shutdown at the border. That was like a dream years ago. You've got solid jobs numbers. There's work to do on inflation. Nobody's ignoring that fact. A lot of it has to do with the excellent work being done in Iran to get rid of that threat. You've got Maduro out of power. You have the violent crime rate. You saw Director Patel up on the Hill yesterday. The violent crime and homicide rates at the lowest in American history. I mean, the drops, 20% drops, triple-digit increases in violent crime arrests. I mean, Sean, this is real stuff here. We have to run it. That's why the doomers, I think, piss me and you off so much. Me and Sean are at it all day with these doomers on X.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I listened to the show. You get the Nothing Is Happening file. I love it. And I know that when you play that and when they, integrate that element into they start to scratch and claw and they're like, no, not this again. I can't. It's like when the movie Bird Box, when you're like exposed to the light and then it's like, no good. Yeah. It's like you see the truth that slaps you in the face and it really hurts. And that's the thing. Like, is everything perfect? No. Is there work to do? Yes. By the way, there's always going to be work to do. We're never going to pitch a perfect game. It's impossible. But we can get as close as we can. And I don't understand the logic, right, of the doomer class who are like, oh no, we're real conservatives. And it's like, okay, hold on. So then why are you telling people to let the Democrats get back in power? You want to do the whole trans thing again? DEI, bring that back, wide open border, Americans getting killed. They go, oh, there's no mass deportations. We have almost 4 million illegals that have been sent home. They've left the country between when Trump was sworn in and now, nearly 4 million. That's a lot of people. Now, I'm sorry if you thought that all 40 million illegals were going to get deported like this, snap of a finger, impossible, right? But there is so much that's going on that we could be happy about. And it's a great foundation. And I actually said this after Donald Trump won in 2024, as I told everyone, get addicted to winning. Right? Do we love that feeling? We were out there pounding our chest, so excited that we won the 2024 election. It's like, don't you love that feeling? Let's get engaged. Let's get immersed in the process. Show up during your primaries. Show up during special elections. Show up in your county. Form those healthy voting habits. You talk about it all the time with your life hack segments, right? Like healthy habits, those small things that you can do that can greatly improve your lifestyle. Well, introduce those little exercise snacks to your political life. First of every month, something we do on my show on LFA TV is we say, all right, everybody, today's the first show of the month. Let's sit down, go on your search engine, your favorite search engine, and say, is there an election that I can vote in my zip code this month? Never miss elections. Always do your research about the candidates that are running. Form those healthy habits and show up, because if we show up, we can't lose. We have a lot to be proud of. We also have a lot that we still need to accomplish, and we can only do that with favorable numbers on Capitol Hill. You think we're going to get any of the agenda passed? Everyone's, I want this to be done, but the Republicans aren't doing it, so I'm just going to stay home or I'm going to vote Democrat. How does that help you get the agenda passed? It doesn't. Yeah. So instead of checking out, JD Vance said this recently too, engage more, participate more, voice your opinions more, call your representatives more, run for office more, knock on more doors, make more phone calls, send more texts. Get that agenda passed instead of checking out and saying, what's the point? I'm not going to do this. It's like a baseball player who's not unhappy with the umpire, just doesn't show up in the batter's box. So you're never going to wind up on base at that point.
That's a great analogy. Like that, I'm a big Auburn basketball fan, and I've always felt like the refs have a bias against Auburn. But ultimately, don't leave the game up to like a 2-point margin where you got to rely on the ref to give you like a foul call and hit 2 free throws. Like if you win by 6, it's not, you still got to play the damn game. And, eventually you got to just take what you can control under your wing and run with it. That's a great idea, by the way. I like that. It's once a month, that like election life hacks. Like you do a segment about little things you can change every day. I like that. Like election snacks. That's a great idea, man. That's fantastic. I want to ask you about something else. You and I have been in the space for a while. We've seen a lot of candidates come and go. Listen, we're in the social media era. I know a lot of people don't like it. They're like, viral ads. Let's just tell us about the white papers and the issues. That's great. I love that stuff too. We just produced a bunch of results that are fantastic. But we are in an era where, eyeballs and earlobes are at a premium. And to get people's attention in the TikTok era, amongst the millions of dance videos and all this other get ready with me stuff, you've got to find a way to stand out. I've never seen anything really like the Spencer Pratt marketing campaign. I don't know Spencer. I've said it over and over. I hope he wins. He's a far better alternative than these other 2 knuckleheads running, the incumbent Karen Basura, as he calls her, and the city councilwoman. They're terrible. But the ads are just, whoever's running his social media team should be on like the Mount Rushmore of political marketing. The contrasts he paints and the way he highlights his strengths, highlights her weaknesses, mitigates his weaknesses, elevates his strengths all at the same time, like a standard SWOT analysis. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I've seen some campaigns. Like, I remember Kim Klacik when she ran for office in Baltimore. She had the ad of her walking down the street. That was one really great ad, and she ran a great campaign, and she's awesome. I love her. There was another congressional candidate. His name was Jerome Davis, and he ran an ad, a pro-gun ad, where he's a black man, and his ad was basically defending himself against Democrats who were dressed in like Klan. It was really powerful, but that was one ad. The Spencer Pratt situation here has been multiple ads in a row and a great showing on the debate stage. Now, look, I'm not going to lie and sell hopium and say he's going to win, but I'm going to tell you what, he's got as good a chance as anybody. It's running as a Republican in that Los Angeles mayor's race, I think, that we've seen in decades. That's number one. And if his greatest utility is just painting that contrast between insane Democrats and sane Republicans. I don't know Spencer Pratt either. I to be completely honest with you, I don't pay attention to reality TV. I didn't know who he was until these ads, to be completely honest. And my wife was like, "Oh, Laguna Beach." I said, I never watched Laguna Beach. I watch hockey. That's what it is. But I'm happy to see him in the race because it takes people who have that type of name recognition, especially, in the reality TV industry, especially in California, where that's a big industry. It takes people like that who have the ability to paint that contrast, right? To put that diamond on the black background, as you like to say. And if that's the only thing that comes out of this race, where he is showing you, he's out there saying, if so-and-so comes walking down the street, at Skid Row, she's going to get stabbed in the neck. I mean, that is a statement that the Democrats can't say, no, he's lying, because that's what's happening. That's what's actually going on. Oh, okay, you don't think you're going to get stabbed in the neck? Come for a walk with me. Come see what your policies have led to. I love it. I love what he's doing.
Yeah, and they'll never do. How old are you, by the way?
35.
Okay, that's why you don't know Spencer Pratt. I'm 51, so I'm. If you're in 50s or 45 or later, you definitely know. It was started with The Hills. It was when MTV was still doing reality, before it went super woke with the reality TV. But I knew who he was. I mean, I grew up with Rachel Campos, now Rachel Campos Duffy on The Real World, and Spencer was like in my living room. I mean, you had Spencer, and I mean, everybody watched these shows on MTV. But I think you kind of hit on the real value of the Pratt campaign. You're correct. Like, hopium is just useless and stupid. Like, let's just go out and vote and get it done. Like, let's not hope to vote. Just go out and vote and bring 10 people with you. He's got a decent shot. It's not a great shot, but a decent shot. I think the real value, though, is this, though. You and I know New York politics well, and I know you know about the Giuliani transformation. The benefit to Rudy Giuliani as the mayor of deep, deep blue New York City was not just 2 terms of excellence. That wasn't it. That was a big part. The big part was a bunch of Democrats, by pure math and independents, for the first time, not only considered a Republican, like many are now for Pratt, if you look at the poll numbers, but actually voted for Giuliani. And then I know because me and you are examples of this. Many of them left. So you're saying, well, how does that benefit New York? It may not benefit New York, but it certainly benefited the country because you're voting red in Tennessee. I'm voting red in Florida. And I can tell you right now, the transplants in Florida in my county, Sean, I bet the transplants in Tennessee, probably 70 to 80% of them are not liberals from New York. They're conservatives, firefighters, military members who are just tired of the blue bullshit. So Rudy Giuliani probably changed the entire country from New Yorkers who voted for him for the first time, who then spread out and spread the Republican liberty message around the country.
It's exactly what happened. So, I mean, I was in New York for 9/11. I was in 5th grade at the time. And, I didn't understand Republican, Democrat, and that the whole landscape has changed since then. But again, it's the contrast. What was the city before Giuliani and what was the city after Giuliani? If you remember, by the way, so Giuliani wins his 2 consecutive terms, and then Bloomberg runs for mayor in New York City as a Republican with Giuliani's endorsement. So a Republican wins again. That's 3 terms in a row. Now, you could say Bloomberg, is he really a Republican? I don't know, but he ran as 1 and 1. That's 3 in a row in New York City, and you look at what the city was before Giuliani. You look at what it was during Giuliani, during Bloomberg, right? It was a nice place to go. And then you go back, then you go to de Blasio, and it went right back off the cliff again as soon as the Republican was out of office, or as soon as, Bloomberg at that point was an independent. But the point of the matter is, again, the contrast. Here's what it looked like during the Democrats. Here's what it looked like during the Republicans. And you're right. When I speak in front of these, I go to these dinners and whatnot, we speak, and I always ask, is there anybody from New York in the room? And, a few hands go up, and I say, how happy are you to be here in Tennessee? And people are like, oh, I'm so happy. And I say, how many of you were in New York during 2020, during COVID, when the virus came out at 11 o'clock, but not 10:59 p.m.? Thank you, Andrew Cuomo, right? When you had these ridiculous lockdowns, when, in order to order alcohol at a bar, you had to have food, but Andrew Cuomo arbitrarily decided that buffalo wings didn't count. This is all real stuff that I lived through in 2020 under Andrew Cuomo during COVID. And people say, yeah, this is real. Folks in Tennessee who didn't experience that can't believe it's real until you see a bunch of people in the room nodding along going, yeah, we lived through that. That's Democrat leadership. Do you really want to live through that on a nationwide basis? Do you really want to live under the rule of a group of people who are threatening, it's not going to pass, but to wipe out an entire Supreme Court in Virginia by lowering the maximum retirement age because they don't like the way they ruled? I mean, what happened to no kings, Dan? Right? I thought we were against this type of stuff. Now all of a sudden, we don't like the Supreme Court. Let's wipe them out. Let's lower the forced retirement age. Get rid of everybody. You know what's ironic about that situation in Virginia is that there was actually a Democrat who spoke out against it. We can't do that because they would be getting rid of the first Black Chief Justice of the Virginia Supreme Court. So they'd be like unwoking themselves. And there's like a conflict of interest there. It's hysterical. But the contrast between Republican leadership and Democrat leadership, whether it's at the presidential level or at the county level, the mayoral level in places like New York City, it could never be more clear. And that's why people are leaving New York for places like Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, etc., because they don't want to live under the boot of tyranny anymore. That's why you got Kathy Hochul begging them to come back. Lady, nobody's coming back to pay your taxes. No one's interested in that. That's why we're in Tennessee. There is no state income tax here. It's a business-friendly state. That is why Starbucks moved to Tennessee. That's why Elon moved some of his operations to Tennessee. That's why the Daily Wire is in Tennessee. That's why In-N-Out Burger is moving to Tennessee, because it's a business-friendly state. Nobody's moving into New York. Why? So they can pay for Mamdani's pet projects? No. The contrast has never been clearer between Republican leadership and Democrat leadership. People are thriving in red states and struggling in blue states, and that's not up for debate. That's why folks are fleeing those states in droves.
I think, us and our experience in New York applies nationwide here, too, because you just brought up a problem post Rudy Giuliani, post George Pataki. And George Pataki was a Republican governor of New York, for those of you who don't know. I believe he had 3 terms. He was not the, biggest conservative in the world. He ran for president and, didn't rate particularly well. However, he won 3 terms as a Republican in New York, which is an enormous political accomplishment. So New York at one point had a Republican mayor and New York State had a Republican governor, which is probably insane to a lot of you listening who are younger right now. Like, that happened? Yeah, I promise it happened. Look it up. But you brought up an important point. I saw you campaigning for your local sheriff out there. And, some people might say, like, why would a national guy like you, and you are, like, you have quite a profile, you do a lot of, cable news, and people know who you are, be involved in local politics for the same reason I am. The Republican Party now, I think, understands, whether it's the Giuliani New York example or elsewhere, you can't just rely on your headliners. Right now, it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the party right now. But what I like about the Trump movement is we're always talking, even now in year one of the Trump presidency, or 1+, we're always talking about the next thing. Not because we're jumping ahead, but because the bench matters. You don't let your AAA team in baseball lie fallow because your team just won the World Series. That's not the way politics works. You've got Rubio, you've got Vance, you've got Bessent, who I don't think has any interest in politics, but, Miller and others who are developing, profile, who even if they don't run, can go out and be activists and fundraisers later. And then at the local level, you have the sheriff, you have all of these other folks like the Spencer Pratts out there. The Republican bench is strong. We've got to think long-term, midterm, and short-term at the same time. You can't let that go.
Yeah, so short-term is long-term, in my opinion. You want to know why we got involved in this sheriff's race? Obviously, March of 2025, we were swatted, okay? And there was nothing wrong with how the sheriff's office handled the situation. Matter of fact, they handled it amazing. Happy Police Week, by the way. We love our men and women of law enforcement.
Hat tip to you all out there. Good call.
We do not let the left win when they behave like that. That's not what we do, okay? I grew up in New York during 9/11. It was like, oh, you're going to come attack us? American flag out on the porch. These colors don't run, okay? So the whole point of sending that SWAT team to our house was to shut us up. And we said immediately, that's not what's going to happen. So guess what we did? We said, okay, I'm an activist from New York. I've done this before. We petitioned to get rock star New York City Councilwoman Vicky Palladino on the ballot. That's, I told the story. That's where I was first convinced to go on TikTok to do the greatest. Nobody does a better job. We understand that. It's not up for debate. We understand that. The greatest in the world. But this is why we did it, okay? You're going to send a SWAT team to our house? Fine. We're just going to elect a new sheriff. I'm going to rub it in your face, okay? Because we're not going to let these people win. We're not going to let them intimidate us into silence. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn that into a positive. You know what we've done? We've met so many people on this campaign, who are out there campaigning, Kenneth Barrett for sheriff. We have met so many amazing patriots in this county. Then now we have a network. It's the same thing that happened in New York. People came out to protest Cuomo to support Donald Trump, and there were networks of people that were built. Contractors who met their subcontractors at rallies that we were throwing, to reopen New York and to support Donald Trump in 2020. And it's these networks that form that really make us strong. It's the political exercise snack again. Short term, hey, let's go win this primary for sheriff. But what does it do for us in the long term? It teaches us those healthy habits to make sure that our candidates do win in these elections, to make sure that we are participating in primaries. I know a lot of people are, I'm so frustrated with the GOP, they do nothing. The time for taking out your frustration on the Republican Party, if they're not representing you adequately, in your opinion, it's not in the general election, it's in the primary. That's where candidate selection happens. That's where your iron sharpens the iron. So, the reason why we get involved in that in local politics, again, is because a group of people who don't like what I say online don't want us to be involved. They want to take our voice out of the equation. They want to take our impact and our, if you want to call it influence, out of the equation. And we're not going to let them win. So you're going to send a SWAT team to our house? Fine. Now you've pushed us to get involved in local politics, and now we have a constitutional sheriff, a guy who is one of the best people I've met in this state. He's a great guy who is going to be the next sheriff of Rutherford County, not just because we jumped in, because a bunch of people realized, hey, it is time for us to go out there and make a difference and put the man who we want in office, the top law enforcement official of the county. And this, by the way, happens all across the country. Look at West Virginia. There's a gentleman there, a state senator by the name of Chris Rose. Do you know in 2024, Chris Rose ran for state senate in Senate District 2. He was outspent $1.2 million to an $84,000. He raised $84,000. This guy knocked on tens of thousands of doors with two volunteers, won his primary by over 20 points. And last night in West Virginia was primary night again. He campaigned for his co-senator, Toby Heaney. He's now in there. Chris Rose went from somebody who was working in the coal mines to somebody who now calls the shots in District 2 of West Virginia, State Senate District 2 of West Virginia, because he put in the work and he did those healthy political exercise snacks that we're talking about. It is possible to take control of your government and make sure they're representing you adequately if we really want to. Is it easy? No. Are your legs going to hurt? Yes. Are you going to be wiped out? Sure. Are you going to burn through pairs of shoes? Absolutely. But is it worth it? Abso-freaking-lutely it's worth it, because now you've got guys and gals who are representing you in local office, federal office, state office, etc., that were with you on the campaign trail, were with you in the trenches. And the message I want to get out to everybody is, please take those baby steps to get involved locally. You'll form those healthy habits, and then we won't lose. We won't lose elections. We won't worry about, oh my gosh, this Graham Plattner so-and-so is running. Good, he's a lunatic. Point at him. Tell everybody he's a lunatic and do it on their doorstep. That's where we win, in the trenches, and it's been proven time and time again.
And I just want to add in conclusion, having run myself and knocked on a lot of doors, this is the importance, like you said, short term is long term. That's brilliant, because it's true. It's not just a throwaway line. If you can get someone to vote in a local sheriff's race or a city council race, like, Vicky Palladino, I can almost guarantee you that person's going to vote in the gubernatorial and the presidential. But it doesn't always work the other way. A lot of Trump voters just don't show up for midterms, and that's what we're going to have to change. Sean, got to run. Listen, I really appreciate your time. You can check out Sean on LFA TV, hosts Ungoverned. It's on Rumble. It's there for you. You can follow him as well. On X, he's got a great account, calls out all the bad actors, and this guy does not screw around, man. I'm telling you, Sean is like ready to go every time, sharpened knuckles, the kind of politics I love. Sean, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. We'll have you back really soon. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
You got it, folks. That's one of my favorite interviews. That's why we have him back all the time. We'll be seeing a lot of Sean in the future, real rock star. And I feel like it's our obligation, because so many people gave me a chance, Mark Levin, Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, and others, that we should use the Bongino army to elevate others. Because remember, it is not about us. It's about the cause. That's it. You make it about you, you're going to go down in flames. It is about the cause. Go find these people. Use your platforms to get them out there too. It matters. Thanks again for tuning in. You got Haley coming up at noon, rumble.com/Haley, Hayley. Don't miss that. Vince every day, he's blowing up that 8 a.m. spot. He owns it. 8 a.m. Eastern, live, on demand anytime. Rumble.com/Vince. Please download the free Rumble app. We'd really appreciate it. That's where you can watch us. Our video is exclusive to Rumble. Just click that follow button, or you can go on the web, rumble.com/Bongino. Again, absolutely free, super easy to watch. Just click the follow button if you'd like. We'd really appreciate it. You don't have to, but you'll get a notification every day at 10 a.m. when we go live. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Caradia,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
Right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching.